Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today.
Good morning, everyone. Pastor Chuck Blair here. Great to have you joining me this morning, whether you're joining us from our studio audience here in Bernathen, Pennsylvania, or from anywhere across the U.S. or overseas. It's wonderful to have you here today. And today we're starting a new series called The Shape of Joy. And what got us thinking about this was taking a look at the book literally called The Shape of Joy by Richard Beck. He offers some wonderful perspectives on joy and some wonderful perspectives of how, as Christians, we can see that. And there's lots of things from the Christian New Church perspective that add even more to that add a depth to the idea of living really joyously. And it was interesting, my wife and I were talking with some friends. We had some friends over a couple nights ago, and we were talking about, can you actually decide to have joy in your life? Can you come from a place of joy? Can that become the starting point of your day? And I'm going to argue that yes, it can. I think biblically it's that way. I think the Lord would want us to live that way. And that's sort of where we're coming from here. So it's not looking at, once I get all the circumstances aligned, then I'll have joy. No, we're going to have joy, and then we're going to watch how the circumstances go, and they're going to align to that. It doesn't mean life's going to be perfect, because it never is, but we're going to find a joy even in challenging circumstances. So the moral of the story, and many of you have heard me say this in different ways, shapes, or forms, is that the shape of joy is like this. Shape of joy is not like this. The shape of joy opens out. It does not curl in. It's in the shape of an embrace or a hug or a welcome to the world. It's not in a shape that bends totally back in on ourselves. It's much more about a window than a mirror. And we're going to look at that in a number of different ways because I think if we're going to really try to have joy as the starting point in life, and I should back up and say, I don't know anyone ever who said, you know what, I got a little too much joy, Chuck. Could I come in and talk to you because I'd like to sort of dial down the joy dial? Because we all sort of want more of that in our lives. We know there's part of us intrinsically that knows that is the way to live. And again, people live that way in all kinds of different circumstances. And it strikes me how much the people I imagine that we've all known who lived a really joyous life, it really does bend outward. It really does do this. And today we're going to start with a really simple premise that we're going to go into and we're going to pull apart in a lot of different ways, which is this: the shape of joy starts with a simple fact: people matter. And today we're going to talk about that difference between mattering and self-esteem. And as mentioned to Marcus before the service today, what's a little bit challenging is this is such an important topic. It's easy to maybe try to strain too much to communicate the message. Because this mattering thing, once we allow it just to very subtly kind of seep into our DNA, that people really matter, it changes everything. And literally, as we were talking about it in sermon writing team, somebody said that mattering, literally, it's the choice between heaven and hell. And I thought, ooh, that's good. That'll perk somebody's ears up. Because if we're going to live as a life that is as reflective of heaven as we can live it in this imperfect life here and now, we're going to really have to know that, we matter in terms of our gifts. We're going to look at that. We matter in terms of our gifts. And they matter in terms of their gifts. And just think, you think of all the divisiveness and all the stuff we're wrestling with as a culture, as a nation, as a world. Just imagine that we really all became 100% committed to the simple premise that people matter. Because so much of life starts to fall apart when in little tiny pieces and ways we communicate, well, people matter except. In God's creation, people matter. From a Christian New Church perspective, we are a finite creation of God, a finite form of God's love, purposefully created to live in the times that we live in, to do the best we can. We're given the gift of freedom to use those gifts, to humbly bring those gifts to community. And so much of it, friends, is again, just that memory that we matter, they matter. Their opinions matter, everything about them matters. Doesn't mean we have to agree. It just means we have to get that it matters. Now, to get started on this, friends, a couple of questions, and they're going to come across as a little bit disjointed, granted, but I want to throw a couple out there. One is, if you're watching from home and you want to text in a picture of something that matters, quote unquote, to you, please go ahead and do that. You can text an answer, you can text a picture into me at 215-740-3662. That's 215-740-3662, something that matters. And I'll give you a little one that was kind of fun. It's going to be a fun day for us and our family here today because two granddaughters, I'm going to be racing out of here. I will not be in the lobby right after church. I'll be racing out of here because I'm baptizing two granddaughters right after church. And that really matters. And there'll be some pictures there, and there'll be like a picture. And I know that we'll look at that picture and we'll go like, oh, that's what matters. Do you have a picture like that comes to mind? A picture that is about what matters? So you can send that in to me. And the other question, and this one, like I want to talk a little bit about mattering and value are different things. And this might appear a little bit disjointed of a question, but it's kind of a fun one. I heard it online in a podcast. It was this question here. If you were to purchase all the chemical elements that go into a human body, about how much would it cost you? In other words, financially, you're sitting here watching this in your body. How much is your body worth? What does it cost? What would it cost to reassemble all the parts? So if you want to take a guess at that, you can throw that in as well. So friends, it's great to have you here today. It really is a beautiful fall day here. I hope wherever you're watching us from, whether it's warmer climates or colder, you're having a beautiful day as well. And this conversation of joy, it's a really important one, really important. And a real blessing is this, that we get to have it together. So welcome to the conversation on joy. Welcome, friends. Welcome to New Church Live.
People will be arriving, and this place will start to liven and be renewed, bringing love alive. And all you've got to do is to let it all come through. Your voice, your heart, and harmony. Check all of your troubles at the door. Holding on is not worth fighting for. The joy in the feeling will bring on a healing inside of you. Inside of you. When you rise up, sing out your love. Rise up and sing out your love. This celebration, raise your hands up high. You could just sing all through the night. When love's in the rhythm of your beating heart, protecting walls will fall apart. It's just an invitation to relate to what's inside. The inspiration that makes you feel alive. Well, get up, stand up, sing out loud. I said rise up, sing out your love. Rise up and sing out all your love. This destination will be the liberation of your mind. Take it to the street and let it shine, shine, shine. This is the freedom that you waited for so long. And now you've got to sing it loud and strong. It's just an invitation to relate to what's inside. The inspiration that makes you feel alive. Come Come on, get up, sing out loud. I said, rise up, sing out your love. Rise up and sing out your love. I said, love, 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 love. We've got to have love and joy. Sing out your love. Love. Sing out your love. Sing out all of your love and joy.
So I loved it backstage. Like, those pictures were really good, and thank you for sending them. You can send them throughout the service, and we'll check with people first before we put them up online. But it was really precious to see, right? And this is what matters, and it's kids, and it's Thanksgiving, and it's a cat that we love, and it's all these things, and a dog that we love. You know, these are the things that matter. And it's interesting because mattering and value are two different things. Let's just get that. I mean, it's just a very simple concept, right? So value, a human body, if you were to break it down into all its component parts, its value would be about $500, which is pretty fascinating. We're not made of expensive stuff, but each of us is invaluable. Each of us matters. Out of $500 worth of material comes infinite mattering. And that so much is a miracle when we start to really think about it. And Jesus was so clear about this. I mean, this is a line many of you are aware of, but it's a beautiful one. So was Jesus in Matthew 10. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? And not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. But even the hairs of your head are all numbered. I always laugh when I read that one. Fear not, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. A beautiful line. You are of more value. You know, here, none of these, a sparrow does not fall without it being held by God. And you are worth so much more than that. Beautiful line. And there's other passages, too, that go on and talk in ways that are just gorgeous. This was one from Luke 10, and the last line really struck me. Jesus replied, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. I've given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions. And here we're talking about a metaphor. We're not talking literally here, obviously. And to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. However, do not rejoice that the Spirit submits you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. And that last line, rejoice that your names are written in heaven. Beautiful line. And we're going to come back to that. And the word rejoice, friends, is so important because rejoice, we can look at that word rejoice and we can think of it like, I always thought of it like applauding God, like where we give God a nice round of applause. And that's what rejoicing is. And the Greek for that word really is thrive. Just take a breath and sit with that for a minute. Just right there in the sense of the letter. God's saying, like, thrive. Your name's written in heaven. And the beautiful part about the Christian message is when we really start to imbibe that, when we really get like, oh, our names are all written in heaven, we start to do this. Remember I said shape of joy is like this? The shape of joy starts to go like, oh, and all their names are written in heaven too. And that's where we start to create a different world. That's where we start to create something that's very, very different. But we have within our programming, we have a bug in the programming. We have a challenge in the programming. We have something in our culture that gets in the way consistently. And this is a really difficult one. It's really difficult to talk about, and it's difficult to talk about accurately. And that's this idea. The idea of mattering versus self-esteem. Granted, you could play some semantic games here, but I'm going to treat these two from the stage today as very different things. And I want to start out by saying It's not that religion is about feeling worse about yourself. That's not it. And some religions actually make a lot of money on that, make a lot of a game on that. You know, they sort of prey into that you are totally worthless. That's not it. That wasn't Jesus' message. That's really not the Christian message. That's not what we should be focused on. This is not about trying to set it up so the final punchline is, so now go out and feel worse about yourself today, because you're not going to find joy that way. This is about a mattering perspective. Now, I want to take a look at this self-esteem thing, because it is really difficult. If we start to see self-esteem, and I just brought a little flag here today. We start to see, think of this as a weather vane. I couldn't get a weather vane, but I figured something that would blow with the wind. If we see self-esteem, it's a weather vane, not a compass. It's a weather vane, not a compass. So what does that mean? Well, that means that I'm constantly like holding it up, trying to see which way the wind blows. You know, do you like me now? And most days, like, the wind isn't blowing, but still we want to try to figure out, how am I doing? How was it? And we're constantly trying to see what direction the wind is going. But there's nothing consistent in it, and there's a whole bunch of challenges when we really start to look at self-esteem. And that's where, friends, like my heart, I know we have teenagers who watch online, my heart breaks again and again for teenagers, because social media just goes right down this self-esteem rabbit hole. And it's so painful to watch teenagers in this self-esteem battle, because you will never find the answer there. Never. You can have all the self-esteem in the world and still be a jerk. Totally possible. Self-esteem isn't it. And we have to be really clear about what these self-esteem challenges are. So let's step over into the place. Like, if we really see life is all about self-esteem, there's a number of challenges I want to go over here that we're going to put up on the screen. First off, it holds that direction of the wind is true. It's interesting working with people, like in counseling scenarios. We globalize, we catastrophize. So if we feel like the wind is blowing against us, that somebody doesn't like us or doesn't appreciate us, we believe everybody doesn't like us, that everybody doesn't appreciate us. Because we believe that wind is true. That wind is not true. That wind is only in our minds. Second one, constantly worries about what is getting in the way of us feeling good. This is a mystery to people, right? It's we can come up with this list of like, well, I'll finally have self-esteem when, and I'll finally have self-esteem when, and I'll finally have self-esteem when, and I'll finally have self-esteem when. Friends, this is a little autobiographical. So my senior year of high school, president of my class, captain of the football team, captain of the lacrosse team. At the end of the year, did I feel better about myself? Take a guess. No. None of that mattered. All those things that I thought were going to be this building block to self-esteem, they didn't matter. They helped in the moment, et cetera, but it didn't matter. That self-esteem only held until the next negative thing happened. And then it all went away in a hurry. So that's important to remember too. Number 3, fixates on how we think and feel about ourselves. So it's this mirror part, and I'm going to keep going because it also gets into the 2 more down. Believes in our self-perceptions that are totally self-referential. So the reference is always to ourselves. It's always about how we feel. And even that, right? It's all about how we feel. Boy, you got to be careful with that. Because we can feel all kinds of ways. I mean, during the day, right? Like, life is like this, way up and way down. And it can't be like, we can't just follow the waves. We have to find that signal. We talked about signal and noise a few months back. We have to find that signal that just is that real baseline, so that as this goes up and down, we have this signal. That signal should be joy, by the way. But we have to find that, or we'll end up with this depressive rumination, the next one. Depressive rumination. And that's such a tough one because it's interesting, you know, I read a lot of research on this stuff and the spiritual part and the psychological part and the study from here and the piece of the word from here. It all blends together, and why shouldn't it? That idea of depressive rumination, that is one of the key markers of well-being. If somebody is constantly ruminating on themselves, if they're constantly bending back outward, they will not be able to find joy. They won't be able to do it. And if they're constantly waiting for some mysterious outside force, in other words, going back to this, if they're just waiting for the wind to blow the right way, then they'll finally feel good about themselves. They're going to be waiting a long time because it's almost like we're waiting. I was thinking about this morning. It's almost like we're waiting for the wind to always blow one direction. So that every single day I wake up and the wind is just blowing one direction, and it's just blowing one direction, and it's just constantly filling us up with feel good, like you are this, you are that, you are the best, you blah, blah, all this stuff that's inward. And then somehow we'll feel that, and that will make life okay. Not necessarily. Now, are there times where that's beautiful to have that focus on yourself? Yes, I'm thinking birthday parties. Everybody gives a gratitude. Great stuff. Terrific. But not every day is going to be a birthday party. We have to find something more. We have to find something more. I mean, maybe this is a little bit, this probably is a whole sermon on itself, so I'm just going to talk to it just for a brief second. I don't know if it's going to be possible to rebuild any form of community if we continue just to play the self-esteem game. Because it's just turned inward. And there's no concept of anything outside. There's no concept of gifts that matter in service to community, and there certainly is no concept of that real other people really matter. We're just kind of filling up our lives with a hall of mirrors. And that stuff, friends, it isn't how we're created to be. And I think you would see that that's not going to bring us a whole lot of happiness. I mean, just think how rapidly, right? Like how rapidly this flips. Wind blowing this way, and all of a sudden the wind's blowing this way. It flips, like self-esteem flips so quickly. I just think of silly little things, right? So somebody doesn't text you back quickly enough. Like you can be like all excited, like, hey, great to see you, blah, 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 blah. It's wonderful to talk to you, da, 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 da. You shoot off of this big glowing text and you don't hear from them. And so you fill in that space between when they do reply and when you sent the message with all kinds of stuff where you're sure that the self-esteem flag is now blowing out and they obviously don't like you and they didn't like that you texted them. They didn't even like to talk to you at the wedding. Oh, so embarrassing. All this stuff. I mean, just craziness. Craziness. That's depressive rumination. We're just ruminating on it. We're just kind of stewing in it. And that's why life has to be seen differently. And that's what I want to talk. I want to talk about how we can get unstuck. And a lot of it, friends, we could use the idea of this idea of compass and weather vanes, but it's also the idea which we've used in here many times about aim and frame. Like wherever you aim in your life is what you're going to frame up as being relevant. So if I aim that it's all about self-esteem, I'm going to frame up my life for all the things that I believe will feed that self-esteem. But instead, if my aim is mattering and reminding other people that they matter, very different frame of reference. I'm going to populate that frame with very different things. Matter of fact, those two worlds are entirely different. And please don't fall into the illusion, because this is one I think as a parent we can fall into. I as a parent can fall into a lot, is the belief, well, if my kid just had this frame, then they'd be able to finally do this. I don't know that that's true. It might be. I don't necessarily think so. I think we're much better focusing on this idea of mattering. And why does mattering different? Because mattering, friends, it just doesn't go anywhere. Mattering is a compass, not a weather vane. It's consistent. It always points one direction. Any conversation we have, we're welcome to say in our heads, this conversation matters. This person matters. Their opinion, even if I disagree, their opinion matters. That's where life allows, where we can allow for our lives to have these beautiful, beautiful forms of interruption. Now, how might that look, friends? Well, I would start out here that we are made in God's image and likeness. This is from Genesis 1:27. So God created humanity in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. That idea, friends, of this mattering, and it starts with this very basic, beautiful point, that people are made in God's image and likeness. It's sort of the beauty of the Judeo-Christian heritage is as you watch as it moves forward, we see a view of God that was sort of up and in the clouds at the top of the mountain to this consistent movement down to a God who walks with us. That's amazing. It gets into a God who moves away from worship me, doesn't say that in the New Testament at all, to a God who in the New Testament says, follow me, on the same plane, on the same way. And that deep concept of mattering is part of that. And I want to share with you a story. It's one that gets shared a lot, but it's such a powerful story, and it's a reminder. And again, with New Church Live, with how many people we have online, some of you know this story probably by heart. Some of you have probably heard it for the first time. I want to share it again. It's the story of Father Gregory Boyle. So Father Gregory Boyle, if you like his work, by the way, recommend the book, Cherished Belonging. Father Gregory Boyle, he's in his office and he's getting ready for a baptism. He is a Catholic priest, a Jesuit who works with gang members out in the San Diego area. And there's this woman who's well known in the area as a serious drug addict and a yeller. And he even, in the book, he uses the Spanish phrase for yeller. I don't remember the phrase off the top of my head, but she was a yeller. She was erratic. She was hard to control. You never quite knew what was coming. And here he is working on a baptism, and he's trying to get focused and get ready for that. And guess who comes in? She comes into his office, and she starts just this, that, and the other thing. And then the conversation moves along, and she's in tears, and they're having a real connection. And Father Greg goes on to say, and it's a beautiful line. It's a beautiful line. I would write this down. I'd put it on your refrigerator. I'd send it to your family. It's such a beautiful line. He said, I had almost forgotten. People are never interruptions. That might be one of the most powerful statements around mattering that I know. People are not interruptions. But if some people matter less and some people matter more, we're going to find our lives that we will treat other people as interruptions all the time because there's this mattering equation that's going on all the time. It's a powerful way to see the world when we start to come from that different perspective and really get clear about it, and so clear about it that it opens up all kinds of things with life. All kinds of things. And even just the practice, friends, of when somebody talks to us, can you really just stop? Can you really just stop? I mean, literally, can you physically stop? Can you physically face them? Can you put down all the stuff that you're carrying in your head and give them the gift? The gift that says, you matter. Pay attention. Pay attention. Paying attention, arguably, is the most direct form of love that we know as human beings. Because we need to remember that with life, this line, people matter, and that is beyond all self-assessment. In other words, they may see themselves as less than. I think all of us, go through many phases of our life where we see ourselves as less than. And then we go into certain social situations, and we definitely see ourselves as less than. Or with certain groups, we see ourselves as less than. Mattering sort of cuts through all that and really gets to the point where it really says that you matter. And it's that bit, friends, where we truly find a place where we are seen and heard. We're seen and heard. Who does that for you? Who told you? Who communicated to you that you really matter? And notice, friends, that's not a self-esteem game. It's just, we got this beautiful picture that somebody sent in, and it's a dad with his daughter, and she's giggling into the camera, and, it's just a beautiful picture. And I'm thinking, that's a dad with how he's looking at his beautiful little daughter, and he's saying it with all that look, that beautiful parental, I love my kids, that beautiful look saying, you matter. You matter. And notice, friends, all the things that go away, right? When we offer that seeing and hearing other people, and when we receive that being seen and being heard, so much else just goes. It's like all that depressive rumination, all that spinning in our heads, all that garbage, all that noise, it just goes. I don't know where it goes, but it goes. And then we're much more free. Imagine, friends, you walk into a room and you're clear that everybody in that room matters. And you're starting to bend. You're not bending in like this, self-esteem. How does this group make me feel? It's a bad question to ask. And instead, you start to bend outward, the shape of joy, and you start to embrace what's right in front of you and the people right in front of you because you're coming from the perspective they matter. Very different way to experience life. Very different way to walk into a room. Very different way to be in relationship. When we were talking about this in sermon writing team, there were a lot of sort of fun examples of it. And I'm going to share a couple of them. One of them was someone who's in a bowling league, and they go bowling, and they love bowling. And that's kind of fun. That's kind of old school. That reminds me, growing up in Western Pennsylvania, they love bowling. And the group that they bowl with, these people cheer like crazy just on you throwing the ball. I love that. I love that. That's the shape of joy. The shape of joy is not based on whether you got a strike or not, or whether you're still just playing bumper ball. It doesn't matter. It's this basic perspective that just simply holds that just the act of it deserves celebration. That's beautiful stuff. That's the shape of joy. I know another story out with a group of friends, and this other friend was sharing a story about the shape of joy, and it's a story about a dance club that him and his wife belonged to, and they learn these dances, and and everything, this, that, and the other thing. And it's the same thing. They just get people out there and they dance and they get applauded and cheered. Shape of joy. This celebration of mattering. The couple matters. The bowler matters. It matters. And nobody's concerned about self-esteem in that moment. And yet we end up having a mountaintop experience at the other end of it. We end up feeling like we're on top of the world. But it's not a self-esteem top of the world. It's a top of the world where we're all there. Because again, folks, we all matter. And when we come back, we're going to talk just about a few little things, how we can allow this to be a ripple out there into our lives, a ripple that reminds ourselves and others that we do all indeed matter.
Sing along to this one if you want to. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart today. I've got the peace and love and understanding down in my heart. Down in my heart. The peace of love and understanding down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. I've got the greatest, grandest feeling. It's a feeling that's here to stay. And it's a joy that needs revealing. So I just like to say, I've got the love of Jesus down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I got the love of Jesus down in my heart. Down in my heart today. I've got the grandest, greatest feeling, and it's a feeling that's here to stay. And it's a joy that needs revealing. So I just wanna say, I got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. Down in my heart to stay. Down in my heart to stay.
I just got to say, being backstage, like I'm looking at these pictures, they are so stinking cute. Thank you for sending them in. And it just got one of a little granddaughter, and she's in one of those shark costumes, where she's coming out of the, just so cute. Such good stuff. Didn't get any pictures of bowling though. Somebody can send me a bowling picture. These things, friends, right? Like this is why it's so different, and we can see that how the connection here with mattering and joy. That's not how life would have it, right? Like, we would think that if, we're trying to discover joy, let's just have the perpetual date night where everything goes perfectly. No, that's a self-esteem model. And the wind's going to blow different ways. But can we have a mattering model instead? Because as Christians, it's what we're asked to do. Have a mattering model. Because we're not so worried about happiness. We're much more worried about joy. Worried is even the wrong word. I wouldn't say worried about joy. We should be much more focused on joy and much more focused on meaning. Just like simply living meaning. And joy's not, it's not something, again, that we create. It's a gift. It's a beautiful, amazing gift when we open ourselves. With this idea, friends, I was thinking about it in terms of ripples. If we look at it, and I was thinking, back when New Church Life had a big in-person audience, I would have had you like shouting out the answers here. We're not going to shout out the answers because we have a studio audience now. But I think just fill in the blank here, right? Your gifts matter. Your friends matter. Your jobs matter. Your families matter. Your partners matter. Your church matters. Your community matters. And this comes right back to the way many things that we say come together. Heaven is a place, granted, and for our lives here on this earth, probably more importantly, we need to get that, yep, it's a place, and in this life, it's a practice. We are here to practice heaven now. Imperfectly, missing it most days, maybe hitting it once every 3 weeks for 2 minutes. But we're still, that's the endeavor. That's the invitation, I should say, from God. It's not a command, it's just a simple invitation. Because, friends, just imagine heaven. So heaven, real simply, it's you find your people, you find your place, and you find your purpose. And it all matters. So imagine that part of the walk of life where you're walking into a new life, which is what happens when we die. And it's this journey, and you find these people, and you have lots of other communities, beautiful other communities, and all those other communities matter. And then you find this one group that it just feels like this. It just feels like home. This is just home. And there's this deep appreciation that everyone in that community matters. And everyone looks at you and goes, you matter. We're so glad you're here. And there's a purpose there. And the purpose is unique to you alone. It's that note, that best note that only you can play, that note only you can sing. And you offer that because that offering matters. And that community's been waiting to have that little thing that you could do that was totally unique, totally you. Because it matters. That's so much of the way heaven works. Just that place where we're in all these circles of mattering. And it's not the depressive rumination. Now, friends, we're not going to get away from that. We're in this life, and our egos will get us all the time, and our egos will constantly get us into depressive rumination. I know that I can preach this sermon, but if one of you says, Chuck, that's the worst sermon I ever heard in my life, I'm going to be all depressed. Because I'm going to be looking for those flags. And it's hard to give that up. And it's hard to just simply do the work of mattering and then letting the results go. Because love, friends, we're here, and it needs repeated over and over again. We're here to learn what unconditional love really looks like. And if you think unconditional love is easy, I would beg to differ. Unconditional love is incredibly hard. Because really holding everybody as mattering, really getting that paying attention, that attentiveness might be the most distinct form of love that we can offer, is really hard. Just with a smile, because we got a number of text messages from grandparents. Can you pay attention and let yourself be interrupted during the Eagles game this afternoon? Can you do it? I don't know. That'd be a challenge for me. But that's what we're asked. That's what we're asked to do because our book of life, right? We have this thing called a book of life, and you could look at it as a metaphor, or you could look at it literally. In this book of life, the book of life is this book, And if you're a fan of It's a Wonderful Life, that's a great movie about the book of life. And you know, and again, as Needs said over and over again, it's really easy to confuse that with a rap sheet. It's not all the times you got into trouble. It's not all the things you did that were bad and how you got to make amends for all that. There is life that has to have that moral inventory, obviously, but I don't think that's the real theme of the book of life. I think that book of life is that book of mattering. I think that book of life is the kind of thing when the good Lord calls us home, it's not sort of a judge sitting up here with the book of life and you down there as a supplicant and reading through, saying all the things where you messed up. I think it's that point where the Lord like sits beside us on the same side of the table and puts out the book and leafs through the pages and smiles with joy. And you start to see how it all mattered. I think that's the book of life. And the beautiful part, I think, is the Lord does that with us when we go through the book of life and we turn the pages and we turn the pages and we turn the pages. We think that the book of life like has a last chapter, and the beautiful part is it doesn't. God gets to a point and the pages turn blank and he looks at us with a smile, a big smile. God smiles all the time, and goes, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to put on this page that matters? What's the collage? What's the pictures? What's the painting? What's the joy? And that goes on to eternity. That's what joy really is. It's that hope that love stretches into the future. It's that beauty of life that we get to experience again and again. And it's that joy that we discover when it all starts to bend outward. So friends, practice that this week. For some of you, you may be going through a really hard time, and I want to tell you that you matter. And if I could look at you right in the eyes, I would do it. I would say to you right in the eyes, you matter. In the image and likeness of God, you matter. Full stop. And that part of that mattering is that and now you can return the gift. Who can you remind today that they matter? That they mattered in your journey, that they matter in your life? That's a beautiful task. Have fun this week, friends, practicing it. Amen. And now we're going to come in for a gentle landing in our service. Again, just a quick reminder, I will be scooting out of here at 1,000,000 miles per hour for a baptism, but you're more than welcome if you're here in our studio audience to join us for some refreshments out in the lobby. So a little prayer. Lord, thank you for your presence here today. We so appreciate this, Lord, that we can gather and converse and talk about mattering. The depth of it, the reality of it, how it works in our lives and in our hearts. Help us, Lord, to come from that place of mattering, knowing that our gifts matter and that the giving of gifts matter and that other people matter as well. That communion, that community, that idea of heaven all around. Your prayer. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. Have a wonderful week, friends.
All this joy. All this sorrow, all this promise, all this pain, such is life, such is being, such is spirit, such is love. City of joy, city of sorrow, city of promise, city of pain, such is life, such is being, such is spirit, such is love. World of joy, world of sorrow, world of promise, world of pain, such is life, such is being, such is spirit, such is love. City of joy, city of sorrow, city of promise, city of pain, such is life, such is being, such is spirit, such is love, such is spirit, such is love. Have a good week, everyone.